All right, guys, so we're back. I went ahead and cleaned this thing all out. Um, I got the one piston out, and I went ahead and took some emery cloth, ran along the inside there, just to go and make sure I can try to get rid of that little burr that was built up right on the end of it. So the next step is just going ahead and doing a final clean of each one of these bores before we drop the pistons in. Each of the pistons we're going to coat in fresh oil before we drop it in. Each of the pistons, I went ahead and cleaned all of the pistons off, or valves, whatever you want to call them. Found just dunking the first half of them in is good enough. I also have a syringe with oil in it that I've been going ahead and just adding a little bit of oil into the bottom of each of those cylinders. Each one of these should drop in nice and smooth and easy. There shouldn't be any catching, as they drop in. The book says that you have to replace either the cylinder or the housing if that's the situation. Um, I think you probably get by with some emery cloth and just smoothing the area out. The reason I'm making the video is because I found that there are no videos on YouTube in regards to doing this. There was one. Unfortunately, the gentleman didn't really explain a whole lot. Um, it's just a lot more talking about the parts coming in and all that sort of thing. All right, now that we got those pistons in there, we can go ahead and grab our new parts. Pop our bridges on. Lay our springs down just the way they came off. Again, these are new springs that came with the kit. Kit comes with new bolts too. Again, washers were MIA for a couple of the bolts, so these bolts didn't come with any Loctite on them, but I've been adding just a tiny touch of Loctite to them because I wouldn't want to have these come out. I guess it probably pretty unlikely that they'd come out just because they'd be under the spring pressure of the spring the entire time. So I imagine that that's why the Loctite wasn't necessary for these ones. But the other smaller bolts that hold the deflectors on, those ones actually come with Loctite on them. These get torqued down to 20 Newton meters or 15 foot-pounds. Same thing with the bolts on the back. Again, comes with new bolts, new deflectors or springs, whatever you want to call these. Now, when you tighten down the deflectors or the springs, they like twist on you. So I've been dipping the end where the bolt goes. So hopefully they won't twist as much when I go to torque them down. You're right there at the end. They like to twist it almost every single time. And I'll run through those with the torque wrench in a minute here. Main thing is you just want to make sure that these two little feet are set right on that piston. All right, go ahead and bust out the torque wrench. Once again, it's 15 foot-pounds or 20 Newton meters. All right, now go ahead and flip her over, work on the top side. Keep that extension with the Allen on it, so that way I can use it to depress those springs, the washers and springs, to get the snap rings back in. And again, just going to go ahead and do a final wipe. I haven't tested to see if that piston will slide freely after hitting it a little bit with the emery cloth. So hopefully that'll go okay once we get to that point. Okay, more new parts. The bridge main bolts. Not really worried about torquing those down or anything. I'm going to adjust those once we do the overhead and everything when we put these back on. I won't be doing the actual overhead itself. The full overhead, I'll just be adjusting the engine brakes. I did the overhead just a couple of weeks ago. The engine brakes were absolutely amazing. And then they weren't all of a sudden, so that's why I went ahead and decided to go ahead and do this tune-up kit. All right, the main piston, it's the same on both sides, so I've just been flipping it over because since we have to reuse that, dip it in oil. All right, and these are those new pistons here. Like I said, this top part is actually the part that came off on my last one, on this one. Luckily, I was able to just re-screw it in there, and then I was able to pull it out that way. So, dip those in oil also. That one's still a little